2024 started off wild. A major disruption happened at the turn of the new year in a Miami mall. They claim it was a fight amongst teenagers.
And chaotic is an understatement. There has been a lot of activity in the last hour. This all started, according to police, with some sort of fight between juvenile groups that were armed with sticks. We're also told by witnesses that fireworks were thrown at each other, and we have seen that here on the ground as well.
Now, this is nothing new, but what seemed to set everyone off was the obscene amount of police cars that responded to this call.
So this happened on New Year's Day. A large police presence caught on video. Now look at this. This was supposed to be for a fight in a mall. Look at all of these police officers that showed up. This video posted online. Eventually it came out, maybe it was due to an alien sighting. That's what people in the mall were saying.
And with a response from Miami PD being that severe, that big, it seems like there may be some covering up at play. So let's take a look at the Miami Mall aliens and let's see how legit this incident was. Thanks for joining me again today, guys, and let's begin.
What was going on in Miami, bro?
And shit, we just booked it for the doors after that, man. I can't explain what that was. I can't say that was aliens, but I can say that was not human. It was not human. And they, online, I don't know if they're trying to cover this stuff up, but they saying that it was police officers and somebody, not shadowy figures. It's 2024, man. It's something going on. There's something going on, and they trying to cover it up. A lot of people saw what I saw, and like I say, it was so much chaos ensued that it was just hard to let that sink in, that we was realizing what we looking at. I mean, it's something you can never even create in your head in a dream.
All right, so pretty much around New Year's. So it says on Monday, a group of roughly 50 teenagers caused a riot at Bayside Marketplace, an outdoor mall roughly 5 miles from South Beach. Now, according to Miami PD, the teens were setting off fireworks, which led to the panic as some assumed there was a shooting. Wait a minute. This is interesting. Only 4 teens were arrested. Police were dispatched for crowd control due to the juveniles refusing to leave. Yeah, guys, so apparently there was a incident with some teenagers, 50 of them, but only 4 was arrested. I don't understand what that even means, but only 4 was arrested. What I want to know is, but the absurd amount of police officers there, I guess that's one of the reasons why, so many people assume that it was something else going on than just a bunch of teenagers fighting, especially if only 4 teens were arrested. Yo, they dripped them out. That's the Miami Mall alien? Son. Oh, man. So the people who are inside the mall are saying that there were 10-foot aliens or creatures that were caught on camera, and they were fired at inside and outside of Miami Mall, and that the media is silent. Cops are covering it up, saying kids were fighting with fireworks. And this person says, yet all these cop cars and air traffic stopped that night, except for black military choppers, and no media coverage. Listen, man, it says it right here. 50 teenagers caused a riot, but only 4 people was arrested. Y'all had hella cops. Y'all could have got way more than only 4 people. Something like that, I would assume, would be like a terrorist attack. Maybe a shooter, like a mass shooter, but teenagers fighting, playing around. 5th day into the new year, now people spotting aliens. It's true, man. We just started, man. Let's check what Twitter got to say about all this shit, man. This video attempting to shed light. No way. Is this from the mall? This ain't from the mall. Ain't no way this from the mall. Are they even American? This is like a whole nother country. I see one skin tone in this video. That's how you know it's another country. Wait, hold on, let me see. Man, no, I don't know. I don't know about this video right here. Nah, go back. I don't know. I'm not trying to see that no more. Some of the unseen footage. Yeah, nah, none of that. There's some supposed what? It makes it pretty clear, my guy. Okay. And then I haven't seen any you know, that's not the alien, bro. Get out of here. I haven't seen any like good footage like that. Hold on, this right here. Is that it? Hold on, let me back out of the full screen because that was messing with me. Was that it? I'm gonna pull it up on YouTube. I don't know. That's not a good enough picture for me. I have to find another. Hold on. Let me try to find another photo of this thing. Guys, this cannot be the best. Like, this doesn't even look like it's in the same area, whatever this photo is. This is not a random UFO sighting outside. This is in a mall. This is what I don't get about this. Where are the security cameras for inside of the building? An HD camera phone should be able to capture whatever's going on inside of a mall. We're not talking about aiming it into the night sky and hoping to get a good image. I don't know, guys. I don't know if this one is good or not. Even with all the witness testimonies I've seen, there was no way y'all was walking through the mall like that without a phone. And every footage I saw was shaky. Like, I don't like that. So this is the amount of cops that was out here for this shit. What is that? What is this right here? Is this what I'm looking? Is this what I'm supposed to be looking at? What is that? I don't believe that, man. I don't even think that this video right here, is this even in America? I don't think this is even in America. Like, this portal video right here. Let me go ahead and skip by it, man. Y'all really playing that video the whole time. I'm trying to see what's going on with the footage. Yo. What am I looking at? Someone says, I think they have the frequencies to blur technology or interrupt it. What is what? What am I looking at? That person right there? Oh shit. Nah, man, there's no way we don't have better footage than this. Like, I'm all for understanding why footage of UFOs and aliens is hard to get, because you're taking it at night and in the sky. Like, you're gonna need a strong ass camera to be able to grab the light reflecting off of the object. But you're in a mall. Like, your iPhone should be good enough. Your iPhone should be good enough to capture this, man. I'm not sure if I believe this is true. That's not. Come on. There's no way. There's no way, like. I'm gonna need a better what's-called than that. There's gotta be better, like, you know. There's some more footage from inside the mall. Come on, man. I know y'all not talking about them statues, bro. There's no way, man. I don't know if I fully believe this. But nobody could record it though. You're like, oh, y'all got phones. I don't believe this is an alien. Like, I deadass believe this was hood niggas just in the, you know what I'm saying, just throwing hands. Or letting off fireworks. Just young niggas just letting off fireworks. I promise you. Like, I don't believe what? Videos? That's not XD though. Man, hell no. Yeah, guys, I'm not sure if this is even like, I don't know. Oh, like we're talking about inside of a mall. We're not talking about looking far away in the sky. The inside of a mall, like, your camera should be able to pick this up. Everybody's throwing alien on everything. It really messes up. It really messes up the real footage that people actually capture.
Alright guys, so just to address a few clips that are going viral on social media right now. First, our response to that big incident in Bayside Marketplace. What happened was there was about 50 or more juveniles that were shooting fireworks at people.
50.
There was also some looting going on, so officers...
50 or more juveniles, but according to the report, you remember that was, according to the report, it was 4 teenagers arrested. You know, someone says the police officer keep glancing over at his handler. Like, that's the only reason, like, I'm even torn about it. Like, I mean, I'll say, like, I'm 80% confident that this wasn't an alien, but this damn sure wasn't. This damn sure wasn't 50 teenagers shooting off fireworks, and only 4 got arrested. Nah. And no media coverage. Like, look at the amount of cops this is. This is insane.
Officers that were on that scene were having a little bit of trouble containing it, so they called what is called the citywide 3, which every officer in the city responded. That's why you saw so much police presence for that call to contain that crowd. Now, there is now video going viral of 8 to 10 foot aliens walking around Bayside. Is actually just a person walking with a shadow. So I can confirm to you all here today right now that there are no aliens.
Suspect. The way you said that was suspect.
In Miami, in Bayside Marketplace at the moment. So it's Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend and stay safe.
Quit playing.
Alright guys, so just to address a...
Yeah, guys, I have no idea what the hell this could have been. Like, they're just letting it go off as teenagers getting rowdy. Teenagers fighting in the mall. Well, I don't know, guys. Take a look at these photos and images and let me know what you guys think down below. Me personally, I don't think it was aliens because it's an enclosed space. Like, you guys have cameras, there's no excuse for that. Spotting a UFO in the night sky is a lot harder it's a lot harder for your average camera phone to capture. And we all know when you zoom in with a camera phone, it loses quality. So I understand that, but you're in a mall, like, you're that close. Somebody should have gotten it. Security cameras, anything. Like, here's what I don't understand. Does this mall not have any security cameras, or did the police block that too? Because instead of just putting out some video saying that it's not aliens, you could have just released the footage showing us these teenagers throwing hands or shooting, you know, fireworks at each other. But it's not an alien, and I don't think it was teenagers. Like, come on. That was way too, like, you call it citywide. Isn't that, let me look that up real quick.
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to show up missing, as they say. Miami police are clearing up.
What's with the air quotes?
Because you'll see, they're clearing up a conspiracy theory about a recent invasion. So this happened on New Year's Day. A large police presence caught on video. Now look at this. This was supposed to be for a fight in a mall. Look at all of these police officers that showed up. This video posted online. Eventually it came out maybe it was due to an alien sighting. That's what people in the mall were saying, claiming it was due to an alien sighting in the area. But what really happened? Look at all these police cars. Later on, police said it was a group of about 50 teenagers that started what they called a riot in the mall, setting fireworks and looting. The alien in this video was, they said, just a really tall person walking. Well, if there were 50 teens looting and setting off fireworks in the mall, where's the video of that? There is not one.
The police called a citywide emergency for teenagers shooting fireworks at the mall. Like, and then they're not releasing any footage showing them shooting off fireworks, even showing the teenagers. Like, I've never even heard of a citywide threat. That's something you would expect from terrorists, you know, someone on a wanted list, a hostage situation, or aliens. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. You think this was just a cover-up? And if it was, what are we covering up? Aliens? A terrorist attack? It could be that too, because we have no footage of either. So thanks for joining me again, guys. Leave your comments down below and be safe, everyone.
This was supposed to be for a fight in a mall. Look at all of these police officers that showed up. This video posted online. Eventually it came out maybe it was due to an alien sighting. That's what people in the mall were saying.
We have weapons in space that's aiming directly back at Earth.
Now to the chaos and alarm on Capitol Hill today after cryptic words over Russia and a potential nuclear threat in space.
Most people look at space and see adventure, exploration, the unknown, a realization that we are nothing but a speck in the grand scheme of things. But we aren't dumb. And we know that there are people that look at space and sees it as an advantage for war. And especially after these recent reports have surfaced, raising alarms over Russia's ambitious move, the development of a space-based weapon armed with a damn nuclear warhead.
Russian nukes in space. Multiple sources are telling CNN tonight that the U.S. has new intelligence on Russia's efforts to deploy a nuclear anti-satellite system in space.
What does the future of space really hold for us? What type of weapons in space are currently in use right now? How long will it take for us to start seeing conflict between our armies in space? That's what we're going to be covering today, guys. So thanks for joining me as we try to get a grasp on what to expect from a war in space. Let's start.
Tell you that we are so dominant in space that I pity a country that would come up against us. The synergy with air, land, and sea forces and our ability to control the battle space and seize the high ground is devastating.
Going to reel 38 at ascension position.
With Russia, their nuclear-armed satellite weapon, shrouded in secrecy, is believed to be designed to target and disable satellites, the sensitive source of our planet's weather forecasting, communication, and navigation systems. A move like this not only changes the whole outlook of space warfare, but this also teeters on the brink of violating the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which is supposed to stand as a regulator of sorts against the militarization of space by not allowing the placement of nuclear weapons up there. So them doing this, Russia, this is pretty much a clear violation of this treaty.
Russian nukes in space. Multiple sources are telling CNN tonight that the U.S. has new intelligence on Russia's efforts to deploy a nuclear anti-satellite system in space. So this actually comes after the House Intelligence Committee Chair Mike Turner today raised the alarm. He announced he's made information concerning a, quote, serious national security threat available to all members of Congress to review. Now keep in mind, if nukes were launched at the U.S. from space, they would be undetectable. And this news gives ominous context to the fact that one of Putin's mouthpieces floated this very idea on Russian state television 9 months ago, as found by Russian media analyst Julia Davis.
I think it's time to turn up the heat. We understand that all drones and everything else work for Americans only while Starlink exists. So if we carefully launch our nukes in space, there will be no Starlink left.
People beat about this intelligence.
Well, I worry all the time about Vladimir Putin. I think we got to be concerned about the tyrants of the world being on the march. This is one more thing to worry about in terms of Vladimir Putin and his attack on democracy and freedom.
Man, what's the point of treaties if anyone can just decide to break it, as long as they have enough people that'll follow their orders? Though, the exact nature and capabilities of this Russian weapon apparently remains a bit uncertain. See, the experts are divided. Some suggest it could be a nuclear-powered electronic satellite device, while others, aka the rest of us, call it as we see it. If it quacks like a duck, this is the damn nuclear warhead in orbit, hovering above our heads. You guys realize this? This whole ordeal has sparked a global discussion on space militarization and the deployment of advanced weapon systems from above. The international community, led by the United States, has definitely voiced their concerns about the repercussions of such a dangerous move. The idea and thought of space-based nuclear weapons introduces a new and complicated layer of geopolitical tension. So it seems, as we get deeper into the 21st century, space is gonna become more than just a frontier for exploration, if that even happens at all, but as a domain of strategic advantage, where the world's global powers get to display their might and technological prowess against the rest of the world. If you control space, you control the world. Hence, the reason for the initial space race. We all know the importance of satellites, weather forecasting, GPS, reconnaissance, etc. But I want to try to make you guys understand what's already over our head right now, or currently in the works. From anti-satellite missile capabilities of disrupting and destroying satellites, to directed energy weapons that harness lasers, microwaves, and even particle beams. Futuristic weapons, including chemical lasers that mix chemicals to create a devastating beam. Particle beams that fire subatomic particles at damn near the speed of light. and hypersonic missiles flying faster than Mach 5. Weapons like these are absolutely redefining warfare. And these advanced technologies are part of an ongoing effort by nations to maintain military superiority in space and protect their national interests, and of course to project their nation's power across the globe. The United States, Russia, China, and India are at the forefront of this type of shit, having developed or demonstrated capabilities across multiple categories of weapons that are currently involved with space. See, space weapons can be categorized most of the times into three main types. Space-to-Earth weapons. These are used in space warfare and can attack space systems in orbit. Example would be like an anti-satellite weapon, and it attack targets on Earth from space, or disable missiles traveling through space. Space-to-space weapons. This category includes systems designed to intercept or destroy other satellites or space-based assets. Earth-to-space weapons. These are anti-satellite weapons, primarily surface-to-space and air-to-space missiles. Earth-to-space weapons. These are anti-satellite weapons, primarily surface-to-space and air-to-space missiles, also developed by various countries. Some of the most advanced space weapons currently in development include chemical lasers. These are being developed for either space-based or ground-based weapons. They involve the mixing of chemicals inside the weapon to create a laser beam. Particle beams, another type of space weapon under development which would be able to fire beams of subatomic particles at damn near the speed of light at a military target, essentially freezing the targeted object. The development of the particle beam weapons has been a bit more secretive, with fewer specifics available about named projects. These nations possess kinetic and non-kinetic systems for a variety of purposes, with the ability of attacking space systems in orbit, all the way to targeting objects on Earth. The concept known as rods from God, or Project Thor, refers to a hypothetical weapon involving kinetic energy projectiles from space.
A rod touches down 8 times faster than a bullet, and with a force significantly greater than a nuclear warhead.
Refers to a hypothetical weapon involving kinetic energy projectiles from space. Is part of a broader idea known as kinetic bombardment or kinetic orbital strike. This concept involves dropping heavy tungsten rods from orbit onto a target on the Earth's surface. Madness, relying purely on the kinetic energy from the high-speed impact to destroy the target rather than using explosives. This idea can be traced back to the Cold War era, but it was popularized and more seriously considered during the Strategic Defensive Initiative period in the 1980s under President Ronald Reagan. The concept itself is supposedly in the works, but a project like this, I wouldn't be surprised if they released this in secret as well and it's actually up there. But damn, the actual damage caused by a kinetic bombardment system like rods from God will be catastrophic. The rods, often described as being made from tungsten and about 20 feet long and 1 foot in diameter, would reach hypersonic speeds as they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. The impact would be equivalent to a large conventional bomb, delivering a massive shockwave and penetrating deep underground, potentially destroying hardened bunkers and facilities. They're saying that these rods can hit over 100 targets at the same damn time, all hitting its target within minutes of it being launched. And unlike nuclear weapons, kinetic bombardment would not generate radioactive fallout, making it a cleaner option to the environment for striking high-value targets. But the actual destructive impact from one of these rods is said to be on par with a nuke. That's insane to me. The United States is not innocent in this at all either. The Outer Space Treaty that forbade the use of nuclear weapons in space was just for nuclear weapons. And these rods from God have no fallout, just raw damage. So it technically slips by the rules set in place by the treaty. And throughout the years when nations attempted to renew the treaty to have more limitations, and the United States said fuck that, they blocked it every time. Rods of God, Project Thor, falling hunks of tungsten metal. It's like raining an asteroid down on your enemy. The development and potential deployment of these space weapons have understandably raised concerns about the militarization of space and its impact on international security and stability. The pursuit of space weapons has the potential to affect global stability, man, and could lead to a new dimension of conflict, space conflict, with repercussions for all spacefaring nations regardless of their own space capabilities. If you're not able to go to space, you wouldn't even be able to sit at the table. The threat of space warfare is real. These people must see space as a new land that hasn't been taken or conquered yet. One with resources to be exploited, and they're in a race to take it all over while using us as their damn sword to do so. And I promise these other governments are doing the same, spreading fear amongst their own people about being attacked by their enemies so they can get the funding and support to build space weapons. In the United States case, a Space Force as well. The United States Space Force plays a crucial role in preparing for potential conflicts in space, while also aiming to protect and preserve the space environment. And as the newest branch of the US military, the Space Force is responsible for consolidating and managing various space-related capabilities, including satellite operations, space surveillance, and space launch operations. It is tasked with ensuring that the United States and its allies have unhindered access to space for both civilian and military purposes, and maintaining space superiority, something that other countries are sure not to like and will probably fight to make sure they are the dominant one in space. What are we planning to do? What are we preparing for? Did the creation of this force have anything to do with the reveal that the government has been hiding the existence of aliens and UFOs? That it was all a ploy just to play in our fears and get the funding for a defensive military force in space? We will have to wait and see. But there is hope. International efforts to regulate weapons in space and establish rules of engagement are underway, as they have been for years. The United Nations, along with various space agencies and non-governmental agencies, are working to prevent an arms race in space, advocating for a future where the cosmos remains a peaceful frontier for all humanity. A war in space would not only have direct, immediate impacts on satellite infrastructure, leading to significant disruptions in communication, navigation, and observation, but it would also have long-term effects on global security, the economy, the environment, and it'll even affect our overall ability to operate and explore in space. This won't be good for anyone. Well, the only people who may benefit at first will be the ones who are profiting and leading us straight into more conflicts like this. Most of us are trying to just live and relax. We're trying to chill, but they never fix the problems of their own nations, these leaders. They do everything to keep us poor and hungry, hating one another, fearing one another, making us more susceptible to joining their militaries to fight for them, just so we can feed our families and get out of our slump with a paycheck and benefits. I'm a veteran, man, so that's why I feel this way, honestly. Defending your land, home, and loved ones is one of the best ways for a man to go, but only in defense, not offense. Projecting your power to space should be for exploration and the benefit of all. Aim that shit at some asteroids or something. How much more money could these fools possibly want? They run nations, but still want more. They have no attachment to this world, it seems. They arm weapons and nuclear warheads above us. I don't know, guys. It seems they'll never stop. They'll continue to use this as their sword and as their damn shield. Let me know what you guys think is about to happen in space and what we should prepare for, and the thoughts of weapons hovering above our heads in geocentric orbit. I don't like that. Leave your comments down below and I'll try to respond. It's Michael here, and be safe, everyone.
The word rule is commonly associated with oppression and arrogant actions. I look at it as a way of governing to keep people's unnecessary ambitions under control.
It's closing all of a sudden.
And sharing this with us.
As we delve into the narrative of the Greys, we must journey far beyond our Earth, venturing into the far reaches of the cosmos. Our destination? Zeta Reticuli, a binary star system hidden deep within the southern celestial hemisphere. This system, located approximately 39 light years away from our own solar system, is composed of two wide-set stars, Zeta 1 and Zeta 2, floating in an eternal cosmic dance. This seemingly ordinary star system gained unprecedented fame within the UFO community due to a singular event in 1961. Known as the Betty and Barney Hill abduction, it became a beacon of fascination for UFOologists and paved the way for many discussions about extraterrestrial life. The protagonists of the story, Betty and Barney Hill, were an American couple whose ordinary life was upended by an extraordinary claim that they had been abducted by beings not of this world. Under hypnosis, they described their captors with striking details, crafting an image that closely mirrors what we now refer to as the Greys. In this deep state of subconscious recall, Betty Hill illustrated a star map. Upon examination, some researchers, like Marjorie Fish, suggested it closely corresponded with Zeta Reticuli, thereby establishing a firm association between this star system and the Greys in the annals of UFO lore. The Greys themselves have permeated our cultural and media landscape, frequently depicted as humanoid figures, standing tall with elongated heads and distinctive gray skin. Their most striking feature, often captured with uncanny detail in various accounts, are their large, almond-shaped eyes, usually black, devoid of white or irises, giving them an eeriness that both unsettles and fascinates. This inscrutable gaze is said to hold a depth of intelligence, underlining the purported advanced cognitive abilities of the Greys. The fascination surrounding the Greys has escalated over the recent years, especially fueled by the synchrony of their physical descriptions across abduction accounts. We will now head back to the past, to some of the earliest encounters and depictions of these extraterrestrial beings. Let's begin. We're visiting the indigenous cultures of North America and their captivating folklore. Among them, the Hopi tribe from Arizona stand out with their intricate spiritual cosmology. That includes entities known as kachinas, believed to be spirits or personifications of nature originating from the sky. In Book of the Hopi, a comprehensive work on Hopi myths and traditions by Frank Waters, the kachinas are depicted in a manner strikingly similar to the modern-day depiction of the Greys. Waters vividly describes them, saying, "These were the kachinas, who dwelt in the starry mansions of the sky. Their heads were large and indicated knowledge and maturity. Their eyes were deep set and mirrored the vast understanding and wisdom of the universe. Their entire being radiated an aura of sanctity, which was coupled with an overwhelming, irresistible power." Unquote, as documented in Book of the Hopi. Now, let's dive deeper into the lore of the Ant people. a cornerstone of Hopi mythology, who bear an uncanny resemblance to the contemporary image of the Greys. The Ant People, or Anu Sinom, as the Hopi people call them, are portrayed as industrious, generous beings, playing a critical role during the cataclysms of the First and Second Worlds, periods in Hopi mythology representing distinct cycles or epochs of time. In the Hopi sacred narratives, when the world was devastated first by fire and then by ice, the Ant People were the saviors of humanity. They offered the Hopi refuge in their vast, intricate subterranean dwellings, described as ant-like tunnels and caves. There, they taught the Hopi the virtues of food storage, as seen in the habits of ants, imparting critical survival skills during these periods of devastation. Interestingly, the depictions of the Ant People in Hopi rock carvings, or petroglyphs, portray them with thin, elongated bodies and heads, characteristics reminiscent of descriptions we often hear about the Greys. Some even suggest that these depictions indicate that the Ant People wore some sort of protective suit, adding fuel to theories that link them with extraterrestrial entities. Frank Waters, in his book of the Hopi, recounts these narratives in depth, giving us invaluable insights into the Hopi's interactions with these intriguing beings. However, while these narratives parallel aspects of contemporary ET and UFO accounts, it's still vital to remember that they belong to the sacred realm of Hopi spiritual tradition. Yet these ancient stories of the Ant People, passed down over generations, continue to inspire a sense of wonder and spark our imagination about the potential connections between ancient civilizations and extraterrestrial life. They represent an enduring mystery, a bridge between our past and the infinite possibilities of the universe. Transitioning to the northeastern part of North America, the Iroquois Confederacy tells a compelling tale of the Sky Woman, a celestial being who fell to Earth from the outer realms. The Sky Woman, also known as Awenhai or Atahensik in the Iroquois culture, is an integral part of the Iroquois creation story, which is a rich and fascinating narrative in itself. In the narrative, the Sky Woman falls from the celestial world through a hole made by a tree's uprooting. As she falls, water-dwelling animals witness her descent and work together to create land for her to rest upon, forming the earth as we now know it. Now, the Sky Woman's physical description is not thoroughly detailed in these traditional stories. She's usually referred to as a divine or celestial woman, an ancestor of human beings, without an explicit connection to the gray alien visual. The emphasis in the Iroquois culture is more on her role in creation, her connection to nature, and the moral lessons that her story imports. However, as an example of a powerful figure descending from the sky and directly impacting human evolution, the Sky Woman story bears thematic similarities to some of the extraterrestrial narratives. These ancestral stories, while part of distinct cultural and spiritual contexts, exhibit intriguing parallels with our present-day ET narratives. Australian Aboriginal lore. Let's venture now to the other side of the world, to the Australian continent. Here, the Aboriginal people hold a rich lore of ancient tales that echo modern descriptions of the Greys. One such tale tells of the Wanjinas, powerful cloud and rain spirits who descended from the Milky Way. Considered creators and sustainers of life, the Wanjinas carry many characteristics that closely resemble modern interpretations of the Greys. Aboriginal art, some of which is thought to date back over 20,000 years, often features the Wanjinas. These beings are depicted as large, haloed heads with vast eye-like shapes devoid of pupils. Their bodies are either missing or minimized, further emphasizing their large, round faces. A depiction bearing a striking resemblance to the Greys. But the Wanjinas aren't just static figures of the past. They are deeply rooted in the living tradition of the Aboriginal people. The Wanjinas are revered and continue to be honored in ceremonies and with fresh layers of paintings. Their images are repainted to ensure the continuity of the cycles of life, rain, and fertility. Anthropologist A.P. Elkin, in his exploration of Aboriginal culture and spirituality, provides a detailed account of Wanjina lore. His writings draw compelling parallels between these ancestral beings and the extraterrestrial encounters reported in the modern age. Elkin's works, particularly the Australian Aborigines, How to Understand Them, delve deep into the practices and beliefs that support the stories of the Wanjinas. In addition to the Wanjinas, there are also intriguing Aboriginal tales of the Min Min lights, mysterious, luminescent phenomena often attributed to spirit beings. Like the stories of UFO sightings, these accounts add to the tapestry of potential encounters with extraterrestrial beings, further deepening the connection between the Greys and the ancient lore of the Aboriginal Australians. As we explore these narratives, we see the interconnectedness of ancient lore and modern encounters, giving us a more comprehensive view of the long-standing human fascination with extraterrestrial life. The stories of the Wanjinas and Min Min lights remind us of our ancient past, while also making us question what lies beyond the stars in our future. The Sasani, described as a hybrid species developed from the Greys and humans, the Sasani present a fascinating chapter in the narrative of potential extraterrestrial life. The notion of the Sasani first gained traction through channels such as Daryl Anka, who claims to communicate with a Sasani being named Bashar. In his book, Quest for Truth, 100 Insights That Could Change Your Life, Anka shares the teachings of Bashar and delves into the origin, purpose, and nature of the Sasani. Anka describes the Sasani as a benevolent race of beings who have transcended the physical plane, possessing advanced physical abilities. They are said to exist in a parallel reality or dimension, which allows them to communicate across dimensions and influence our reality subtly. According to the narrative provided by Bashar, the Sasani are a creation of the Greys, themselves a species facing extinction due to their over-reliance on genetic engineering and cloning. The Greys, lacking in genetic variation and facing a reproductive crisis, allegedly traveled back in time and across dimensions to interact with humans. From this interaction, the Sasani were born, a hybrid species possessing the best traits of both their parent races. Bashar, through Anka, describes the Sasani as humanoid, about 5 feet tall, with smooth, pale skin. They possess a profound understanding of energy and its manipulation, living in a society that seamlessly blends spirituality and technology. Their civilization is said to be balanced and harmonious, free of conflict and disease. As for their purpose and content in humanity, the Sasani, through Bashar, state that they wish to help us navigate our spiritual and societal evolution. They see humanity at a critical juncture, one that could lead to a future similar to the Greys if not handled with care. While the story of the Sasani is a complex tapestry weaving elements of time travel, interdimensional communication, and genetic manipulation, it fits into our exploration of the human alien narrative. It pushes the boundaries of our understanding of existence and it raises fascinating questions about the potential interconnections between various forms of life in the universe. Arcturians, the sage species of the Milky Way. As we land upon the star Arcturus, the home of an advanced and ancient civilization, the Arcturians. These beings are considered amongst the most advanced and wise races that is believed to inhabit the Milky Way. Physically, they are described as humanoid, standing about 5 feet tall, with green skin and large almond-shaped eyes that can seemingly peer into your soul. But their true strength lies not in their physical form, but in their profound mental and spiritual prowess. Author Edgar Cayce, in his readings, described the Arcturians as the most enlightened beings, stating, "In the constellation of Arcturus, entities have gained the higher realms of activity by first applying, then appreciating, then adhering to the laws of love." Their highly developed mental and spiritual abilities are also beautifully captured by Patricia Pereira in her work, Arcturian Songs of the Masters of Light, Arcturian Star Chronicles, Volume 1. Pereira provides channel messages from the Arcturians, where they introduce themselves as peace-loving entities, keen on assisting humanity in our spiritual evolution. She quotes, "We are the Arcturians and we come in peace, bearing the reflection of the love/light of the one creator." Unquote. Not only are they mentally and spiritually advanced, but the Arcturians are also believed to possess unimaginably advanced technology. According to Norma Milanovic in her book, We, the Arcturians, this technology is both powered by and serves their advanced spiritual development. In her words, the technology of Arcturus synchronizes with their superior spiritual ability. They've constructed a society that we might consider utopian, free from conflict or competition. They work harmoniously for the collective good. This notion of unity and harmony in Arcturian society is echoed by Milanovic, who wrote, "The collective of Arcturus, the group mind, functions only in the vibration of love." Norma Milanovic, We, the Arcturians. Some people report contact experiences with the Arcturians during meditations or dreams, or even encounters with their starships, which are described as colossal, crystal-like structures. The Arcturian narrative, with all its philosophical and metaphysical complexity, offers a unique lens to ponder our place in the cosmos. Now, I would really love to know if these beings are real or not. With everything going on lately, with the government admitting to knowledge of UFOs, even high-level officials turning whistleblowers, it's hard to know what's really true. But when compared to consistent images of the Greys throughout history, it seems we have no choice but to approach these topics with both an open mind and healthy skepticism. So, today we've talked about some of the many origins of the Greys, from the Betty and Barney Hill abduction in 1961 that started this entire modern era rolling, or 20,000-year-old cave paintings from the Australian Aborigines, saucer-shaped vehicles of the Greys, their human hybrids, the Sasani, or the crystal-like spaceships of the Arcturians. I have definitely walked away from this knowing more about the lore regarding UFOs. Now, whether this lore actually turns out to be true or not, I just want to say that I would not be surprised if it is. So, thank you for joining me for today's video. Stay tuned for more, and be safe. In the early hours of February 25th, 1942, the city of Los Angeles found itself under a mysterious siege.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning. The anti-aircraft guns began barking during a blackout ordered by the 4th Interceptor Command at 2:25 a.m.
What started as a typical quiet night quickly spiraled into an unexpected event that saw the U.S. military firing rounds of munition at a target in the night sky. In the middle of Los Angeles,
Watchers on the rooftop of the Columbia Broadcasting Building in the heart of Hollywood could plainly see the flashes of guns and searchlights sweeping the skies in a wide arc along the coastal area. Concussion of the shells could be felt in downtown Los Angeles, 15 miles away.
there's documentation of what these mysterious objects were. There's people all throughout the city of Los Angeles that claim they saw bright lights, round objects flying through the sky that night, as clear as day. This is the story of the Battle of Los Angeles, when the citizens of the United States saw a battle between the United States military and UFOs. It's Michael here. Thanks for joining me, and let's get started.
Watchers on the rooftop of the Columbia Broadcasting Building in the heart of Hollywood could plainly see the flashes of guns and searchlights sweeping the skies in a wide arc along the coastal area. Searchlights closely followed the object down the coast and kept it centered in their glare. Shells frequently could be seen bursting near the object, but none appeared to hit it. The shooting stopped about 3:30 a.m. The shooting brought warfare to the front door of this city of 1.25 million population for the first time since December 7th.
Around this time, the world was at war, just months after the devastating attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese. The United States and its military was on high alert. The whole West Coast was prepared and bracing for a possible Japanese invasion. Everything was on lock, especially for a location like Los Angeles. It's on the West Coast, a giant hub of military activity, tourism, and industrial production. So it was always seen as the most likely target for a strike. And so it was no surprise when the citizens of California were seeing military trucks and bases being stocked in their city. The people knew and were waiting for a possible attack. It began with a warning. Radar detected an unidentified object approaching the city. And then more of them started to appear on the radar. And some even saw them with their own eyes in the sky. The city's military defenses shot straight into action, and a blackout was ordered throughout the city of Los Angeles, with air raid sirens in action throughout the night. Anti-aircraft guns rattled the silence, firing into the dark sky at what was believed to be an enemy aircraft. While never even hitting the target, over 1,400 shells were launched, lighting up the night sky. But when dawn broke, there was no evidence of a downed plane, and the only casualties that were reported were buildings, leftover shrapnel and debris in people's backyards. And of course, some reported their nerves being casualties from the shock of this event as well. Everyone in LA, for this 1 hour in the night, had to have been the most confused people on the planet right now. Were we under attack? Is it the Germans? The Japanese? They just attacked Pearl Harbor, so it's possible. See, this was before the original sightings of UFOs that started to take place in America around 1944, when the initial incident of the Foo Fighters took place.
Professional pilots, both commercial and military, do see UFOs, but the culture of silence within their ranks means the public almost never hears about it. There was a time, though, not long ago, when pilots who saw UFOs did talk to anyone who would listen. They were the fighter pilots and gunners of World War II, and they saw a lot of very strange things up there.
See, the Foo Fighters were mysterious, glowing objects seen by Allied pilots during World War II, starting around 1944. They appeared as fast-moving lights or shapes that seemed to defy the physics of flight, puzzling those who saw them. And the name Foo Fighters comes from a comic strip and was used by pilots to describe these unexplained sightings. Theories about what they were include secret enemy weapons, natural phenomena like St. Elmo's fire, a weather phenomenon involving glowing plasma created by corona discharge from sharp or pointed objects in a strong electrical field, such as those found on aircraft wings or cockpit canopies. Or it could have been stress-induced visions, but no definitive explanation was ever found. Whatever the cause for the initial popular sightings of UFOs taking place in 1944 with the Foo Fighters, this is still 2 whole years before that incident. The Battle of LA took place in 1942. Eyewitnesses in Los Angeles described seeing the same shaped objects and movements in the sky that these military pilots 2 years later reported seeing the same thing. This makes these eyewitnesses' claims a bit more credible in my opinion. But when the dust settled, there was no evidence of any downed enemy plane, and in the absence of a concrete enemy, man, the people's speculation began to grow wild. The LA Times published a photo that would later become truly iconic, showing searchlights converging on an unidentified object, further fueling theories of a UFO. Eyewitness accounts varied, some insisting they saw a large, round object gliding through the night sky, impervious to the artillery barrage, while others said they only saw a light in the sky, or nothing at all, aside from the firing in the sky by our armed forces. Now, the military's official explanation had went from claims of unidentified planes being the cause for the alert, all the way to their dismissive theory of them having war nerves. A mass hallucination must have taken place, driven by the stress of wartime. You're right, man. There's no way your whole armed forces in Los Angeles at the time started hallucinating and saw the same damn thing. And what about your military equipment? The radars? They were hallucinating too? 3 separate radar stations? Yeah, I don't think so. And later on, the official stance on the event was settled. And guess what they stated it was? They said it was weather balloons. A damned weather balloon, for over an hour, managed to evade leagues of artillery rounds from military personnel? There's no way they really expected people to believe this. And for what? This was an explanation that did little to nothing to help quell the public's fascination with this incident. The people did not just turn away, and the problem did not just go away. And like I said before, this was before the start of the popular UFO trend. This was not common knowledge, alien aircraft, and the descriptions of these objects match these eyewitnesses' accounts as well. So the lack of physical evidence of these supposed weather balloons as debris was not surprising. Or evidence that the Japanese had invaded, there was none. And I swear, this only deepened the mystery regarding the Battle of Los Angeles and what was actually in the night sky. Because let's be honest, the eyewitness testimonies from the citizens of Los Angeles said it all. They said they saw large round objects gliding through the night sky, impervious to the artillery barrage, 2 years before the famous Foo Fighter incident that coined the term UFO, and 5 years before the famous Roswell incident that occurred in July 1947. When this story hit the headlines on July 8, 1947, when the Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release stating they had recovered a flying disc from a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved.
And guess what they said that was back then too? They said it was a weather balloon again, and not an alien aircraft. What's up with that? Weather balloons, is it that common that we can mistake it for UFOs? And why does the government always go back to this weather balloon excuse? It's like their go-to. You guys remember back in February 2023 when the military shot down an unidentified flying object over Alaska.
Today, under President Biden's order, a U.S. fighter pilot shot down an unidentified unmanned object the size of a small car.
We're calling this an object because that's the best description we have right now.
This time above the Arctic waters off Alaska, near the Canadian border. At this point, U.S. officials are not saying this is another Chinese spy balloon. In fact, they say they don't know what it was or what it could do.
We do not know who owns it, whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned. We just don't know.
And they shot a few of these things down as well, and later reported that they were Chinese weather balloons. I'm not sure how entirely true that whole situation was. All I'm saying is I'm just noticing how similar the excuses are from our government when it comes to UFOs. Like, what really happened in the skies over Los Angeles in 1942? Was it a case of war-induced hysteria? A misidentified aircraft like a damn weather balloon? Or perhaps it was really a case of the United States military in battle with UFOs? Especially looking back now, and at how the government have pretty much admitted to UFOs being legit.
There was a time when anyone who said they had seen a UFO was accused of making it up, being confused, or even being drunk. Not anymore. Scientists, military leaders, even some politicians are joining the crowd of true believers, with the US Navy task force called in to find the truth.
And something that they've kept in the hush for close to 80 damn years? Man, if people still don't believe the government be lying about UFOs and knowledge of anything extraterrestrial or alien, even after they admitted it, man, if y'all still don't think it's true, then you're clearly just delusional. Let me know what you guys think. Was this a weather balloon like they said? An enemy attack from a foreign nation? Or was it something alien? Leave your comments down below, guys. Like and subscribe. And be safe, everyone.
There was a time when anyone who said they had seen a UFO was accused of making it up, being confused, or even being drunk. Not anymore. Scientists, military leaders, even some politicians are joining the crowd of true believers, with the US Navy task force called in to find the truth.
Hi, we've gone through a preliminary data collection stage. And to summarize some of the things that we've learned, the current data collection efforts regarding UAPs are unsystematic and fragmented across various agencies, often using instruments uncalibrated for scientific data collection. Balloons recently, that data is classified. And that's because of a desire to not reveal. The current existing data and eyewitness reports alone are insufficient to provide conclusive evidence about the nature and origin of every UAP event. They're often uninformative due to lack of quality control and data curation. To understand UAP better, targeted data collection, thorough data curation, and robust analyses are needed. Such an approach will help to discern unexplained UAP sightings, but even then there's no guarantee that all sightings will be explained.
For convening today's UAP independent study public meeting and inviting me to continue to participate. I also emphasized to Congress that only a very small percentage of UAP reports display signatures that could reasonably be described as anomalous. The majority of unidentified objects reported to AARO and in our holdings demonstrate mundane characteristics of readily explainable sources. While a large number of cases in AARO's holdings remain technically unresolved, this is primarily due to a lack of data associated with those cases. Without sufficient data, we are unable to reach defendable conclusions that meet the high scientific standards we set for resolution. Meanwhile, for the few objects that do demonstrate potentially anomalous characteristics, AARO is approaching these cases with the highest level of objectivity and analytic rigor. This includes physical testing and employing modeling and simulation to validate our analyses and the underlying theories, and then peer reviewing those results before reaching any conclusions. This is an example of one that I showed at the hearing recently. This is a spherical orb, metallic, in the Middle East, 2022, by an MQ-9. I will come back to the sensor question that David raised here in a moment. This is a typical example of the thing that we see most of. We see these all over the world, and we see these in making very interesting apparent maneuvers. This one in particular, however, I would point out, demonstrated no enigmatic technical capabilities and was no threat to airborne safety. While we are still looking at it, I don't have any more data other than that. This is a newly released video. You'll notice there are two dots moving back and forth. There is a plane at the bottom that's moving across the screen, and now there are three dots moving back and forth. The moving back and forth is from the sensor and the platform that's collecting it. This is a P-3 on a training mission in the Western United States. They picked these up and they tried to intercept and was unable to intercept them. The reason they couldn't catch them is because after further analysis, it was shown that those objects were actually much farther away from the P-3 than they thought. And in fact, when we went even deeper, looked at air traffic control data, we were able to match those to aircraft on a major flight corridor heading into a major airport for landing. This is the kind of thing that can spoof and or provide misperception of both very highly trained pilots as well as sensors.
Anomalous characteristics. What numbers are we talking about? How big is your data?
At the time of my open hearing, we were at 650 cases-ish. We are now over 800. Analytics will report out. But the numbers I would say that we see are possibly really anomalous are less than single-digit percentages of that total database. So maybe 2 to 5-ish%.
That it is really disheartening to hear of the harassment that our panelists have faced online, all because they're studying this topic. NASA stands behind our panelists and we do not tolerate abuse. Harassment only leads to further stigmatization of the UAP field, significantly hindering the scientific progress and discouraging others to study this important subject matter.
It's closing all of a sudden.
And sharing this with us.
Two-part question. The first one being, is there no hostility from another species because there's a higher governing species, or is it just the fact that there is no hostility whatsoever? How can we be sure of that? First question.
Everybody who I know who has dealt directly with those beings have told me our own experience, and that is they are completely non-hostile. They have been portrayed as such because how do you unite the world around a military response? You create a false alien threat. Another part of your Truman Show everyone's been forced to live in. The idea that we have a free press or that we have a free market economy. Pray tell any economist in here, I challenge you, how do we have a free market if the most important scientific breakthroughs of the last 100 years have been ruthlessly confiscated, people murdered, and kept off the market?
We have about 15 billionaires and 6 corporations controlling 90% of the media in the United States. We've got AT&T, Comcast, Walt Disney Company, National Amusements, that includes Viacom and CBS News, and Fox Corporation. They rely on advertising revenue, and that's going to mean they're towing a certain line.
This is a CIA document. It was released. I was surprised it was released, and it says that we have relationship with every major wire service, newspaper, news weekly, and television network in the nation. In many instances, we have persuaded reporters to postpone, change, hold, or scrap stories that could have adversely affected national security interests or jeopardized sources and methods. It's a controlled economy. It's a controlled media. It's an abomination, and it's killing the planet. You're going to see all their information is blacked out, and it's because they've asked not to be named. Now, they can be known by people who are working in a SCIF and have a vault and who have the ability to then pursue it in the interest of national security. That has been provided to these key offices. So I just wanted to give you that as sort of an overview of how the list was constructed. It is by no means complete. We have a new whistleblower coming forward every week or two now at this point. And Michael Schratzer nodding his head. Yeah, this has become a torrent. And so we want to set up a mechanism. We're recommending that you'll hear what our recommendations are for the President and Congress to resolve this crisis. Next. So I wanted to mention that these bases, if you look at them, let's go to, this is where all these illegal operations have happened. I'm saying illegal because we can prove that this information, as Senator Inouye said, you'll hear his statement in a moment, has been run by a very shadowy, deep black operation. And we're not talking the legal black budget of the United States. We're talking about projects that presidents and CI directors and secretaries of defense and members of the Congress who have a need to know and are cleared TSSCI in SCIFs, secure compartmented information facilities, have been blatantly either gaslit, denied access. That is the foundation of everything we've done, is that these projects are a priori illegal and therefore unconstitutional and have to be reined in, because not doing so is a threat to the national security. So here is your list. I'm not going to go through 145 sites. Some of them are black sites. Some of them are bases you know about, like Wright-Patterson, Edwards, Nellis, Area 51, so-called. But all of them are based on witness testimony and intelligence we've gathered over the last 30 years. And it's time for it to be disclosed. And so now you have it. Next. Here's one. And people go out in the Mojave Desert. Michael Schratt took this picture when it was okay to fly near it in a small private plane. It is a site for the Lockheed Range underground entrance. What's in there? What he was talking about. I know people who have since passed away, like our witness, Stephen Lubkin, who was at the White House with Eisenhower, who said point blank, the president lost control of these projects and that he was very upset and angry about it, but these projects became so compartmentalized that he no longer could control them. So this is one. You can see there are rivets and what have you. And we'll go through this later after our fine gentlemen and whistleblowers speak. But I want to give you this overview really quickly. Next. So this is actually an extraterrestrial vehicle, a very large one that was at the Nellis North Range. We have the location of the helipad. It's Delta Force manned. This occurred back in that same era, around 2009, about 65 feet across. It's seamless, but it has sort of a clamshell part of it. There was a a ramp that rolled out, like he said, like a roll-up that came out of it. And there was a ARV above it that was headed in lock. It was an electromagnetic lock on this object. I think it was stunned, and that's how it's brought down. This is not infrequent. Not every day, but not infrequent. I said over the last 80 years, at least 122 have come down. So there are helicopters. He was on the team to pick up debris. This one was, of course, intact. It began to pulse and operate and came back to life, as it were. And the entire group that was there basically were put in some kind of a stasis electromagnetically. Sounds like science fiction. Teleported back to the helipad instantly. But before that happened, he had this meeting with two of these extraterrestrial biological entities, a male and a female, and this is a very accurate, according to the whistleblower who needs to come forward when there's adult protection. They had no pinna, the ears outside, and had no hair, and there was a male and a female, and it was made very clear to him by these beings that they were completely non-hostile. All extraterrestrial civilizations are non-hostile. If they were hostile, the technologies they have would have been made quite clear to us in August of 1945. We'll get to this in a moment. So this, later he had an event when he tried to leave that command where there was a fake, what's called a programmed life form alien. These have been used in what you hear in the fabled lore of abductions and stuff in the UFO lore. This is actually a man-made creature, but it's not living per se. It has a covering that's skin-like. It tried to take him with one of these ARVs in command, and some people camouflaged in the ground near his truck. After he got out of this command, he was disgusted with what was happening. He no longer wanted to be part of that project, but they weren't happy he left. I told him, it's a miracle that you lived to tell this tale. And so what happened is that his pickup truck went into sort of complete lock, motor died because of this man-made UFO, UAP. He opened the door because he saw this creature, which he thought was an alien. It's not. And he hit it, it fell, he kicked it, and it split open this outer, and he saw the integrated circuits and fiber optics and what have you. This man I've dealt with quite a bit. He was ready to come to the aero skiff. He had a nasty encounter with people who threatened him directly. This is recent. And so we have not been able to bring him to the Aero Pentagon briefing. Next. And this is one that came in 2009. We had a witness SL, we call him Coast Guard, and this is his incoming letter to me, the redacted information. And then he told us about an event off of Guam where his Coast Guard ship, which is a buoy servicing vehicle out there, was called in on a mutual assist, and he got there, and you'll see on the next picture, there was an extraterrestrial vehicle that we hit down but got lost in the deep waters there in the Marianas Trench, and it had gotten caught and tangled up.
This video was recorded in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. It's like it's like a blue light, water. Nobody knows what it is. What? is that? This video was shared on TikTok by Francisco Ocasio. What is that? And they're getting closer to it as well. Guys, I don't know. I don't know what could be causing that. And it's like, is it moving? Oh shit. Something is swimming. Oh my goodness. What the fuck? That shit is long. Oh man. You gotta understand, like, they're not prepared. Like, they're just out there. They don't have the lights. They don't have, great cameras. What the fuck is that? And it's going to it. Oh man, and here's part 2 to it right here. Let's see this again. Look at this. It's swimming. This body, the body looks long. I'm telling you, man, if these things are 7-8 foot, we gotta get our hands up. You can clearly see that shit going into a fucking water. There it is again right here. Damn, man. This is literally what I would assume is a USO, like an underwater, Jeez. This is some good footage, even though the quality is bad. Israeli head of state security claims Earth is collaborating with the Galactic Federation. Is this real? The former head of Israeli space security program has either just spilled the biggest secret in world history or is deeply delusional. He claims the Galactic Federation has been in touch with the governments of the United States and Israel, but asks for its existence to be kept secret. Who is this guy? He's a former general who spent 29 years as head of Israel's space security program, while also a professor at the Technion, which is Israel's Institute of Technology. got the credentials. Credential doesn't always mean anything. Like, people can have the credentials and still have crazy beliefs, but shit, a galactic federation is something. Shit. There's an agreement between the United States government and the aliens. They signed a contract with us to do experiments here. I've heard that before. They too are searching and trying to understand the whole fabric of the universe and wants us as helpers. By not letting us know, by not letting us know that they're here, this contact isn't just from worlds beyond the solar system. He's saying that there's an underground base in the depths of Mars where the representatives are. They have representatives? And I mean, I've heard of representatives before, but they must have it on Mars and in Antarctica as well. Oh man. Rashid added, if I had come up with what I'm saying today 5 years ago, I would have been hospitalized. Wherever I've gone with this in academia, they've said, the man has lost his mind. Today, they're already taking differently. I have nothing to lose. I have received my degrees and awards. I am respected in universities abroad, where the trend is also changing. The trend is changing. Damn, man. And this right here is another story. Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb is leading the expedition and said the team had found a couple of bizarre objects. Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson is currently searching for an unidentified flying object, or some sort of space entity that has crashed near the coast of Papua New Guinea. Oh, so they're finally putting money towards this. 1.5 mil, that ain't a lot, man. The project is operating in an expedition led by Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb and his student who identified a meteorite of interstellar origin that crashed into Earth. The object's interstellar origin has been verified by the United States Department of Defense, and the Galileo team, that's a nice name, have already found a couple of its remnants. Oh man. And this is the man himself. This is the I'm guessing the founder or the CEO of Cardano, I apologize. Mathematician, billionaire, and co-founder of Youthroom, who later went on to create ILG and Cardano. Charles Hoskinson is part of it. Charles Hoskinson is part of an expedition to the ocean in search of an interstellar meteor. But he's being criticized for that by haters who claim that this is harming Cardano and ADA deployment. The founder hints that his hobbies are not harming ADA. Yeah, it's his hobby, so he's doing it on the side. Let him do his thing on the side. On June 17th, Hoskinson took to Twitter to comment on an article about Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb's find in the Pacific Ocean. It was an anomalous wire in the area he thinks an alien spacecraft might have crashed. The wire was 8 millimeters long and curved twice with rigid structure. Hoskinson then commented on the tweet, writing, "Wire and some aluminum. Plenty of ground to cover, and we haven't even broke out the sluice sled yet." Don't know what that is. It was followed by a headline in small media outlets saying that the Cardano founder went on an expedition to the ocean in search of alien technology. Yeah. Hoskinson commented that he had definitely not expected a headline like that. Yeah, that was very disrespectful. And in the meantime, Cardano's development has not been halted. He's still keeping up production. Like, it's his hobby. Like, if he wants to go look for aliens, that's his hobby. That is crazy though, man. This right here, this is crazy. The United States government. Jesus. Well guys, that'll be it for my video today. Stay tuned for more Paranormal Watch, and be safe. Hello everybody, and welcome back to our channel, where we explore the unexplained, the mysterious, and the peculiar aspects of our world. Today we're going on a short journey through time to explore some of the history of UFO sightings, from ancient times to the present. From the depictions of strange objects in ancient cultures, records from the Middle Ages, and to the more modern reports, we're going to be covering a bit of each with this new deep dive series, on my attempt to create a complete catalog on everything that is related to extraterrestrials. So, thank you for joining me today, and let's jump right in. Since the beginning of time, strange sightings in the sky have often been documented. It's amazing to think how long back images of UFOs and aliens have been created, and yet a lot of people still do not even begin to entertain the idea of extraterrestrial life. The vast amount of images and cave paintings, I mean, a lot of these I had no clue even existed before I decided to start this YouTube channel. So let's start with some notable cultures, and let's see how similar or not these images and descriptions are to how we view extraterrestrials today. In Australia, we find the Wandjina petroglyphs. These are up to 5,000 years old. These works depict the Wandjina, cloud and rain spirits of Australian Aboriginal mythology. Interestingly, the large white faces and big black eyes in these paintings bear a striking resemblance to modern descriptions of extraterrestrial beings. However, the mainstream anthropologists and archaeologists consider them religious or mythological symbols, and I can understand where they're coming from by saying that. At some point, it starts to become near impossible to prove the existence of what these beings were, whether visitors or just something religious left in ancient depictions. So I do understand the label archaeologists have put on these images, but the consistency of these images throughout the ages, as we will begin to see, that cannot go unnoticed. The Tassili Niger National Park in the Sahara Desert hosts a rich collection of prehistoric cave art, ranging from 6,000 to 12,000 years old. Some figures here, depicted with helmet and suit-like features, have led some to interpret these as possible evidence of ancient astronauts. Yet mainstream scientists suggest these likely represented spiritual beings or shamanistic visions. Here we are again with the same labels. It becomes too difficult to understand what the hell these paintings were supposed to depict. But if I was one of the scientists who have studied these paintings, I would have said the same. I would be trying to be as empirically accurate as I could possibly be, for fear that my whole scientific finding regarding these paintings will be thrown out just off of one opinion on what these beings could possibly be. But the round heads, big black eyes, some of them are even shown having different color arms. In these same paintings, you can see how locals depicted regular people. And then you see this, the typical alien description that we are familiar with today. Mind you, these cave paintings range from 6,000 to 12,000 years ago. That's insane. In Egypt, the Cave of the Swimmers, popularized by the film The English Patient, contains Neolithic pictographs around 10,000 years old. Among them are peculiar objects that some propose could be early depictions of advanced technology or UFOs. This 9th century BC Assyrian panel is a fascinating artifact. It showcases the deity inside what looks like a fiery wheel or a circular object. It shows the objects in the sky covered in wings, with a divine being inside of the object. This artifact is often referenced in discussions of ancient astronauts. However, mainstream historians and archaeologists interpret this depiction as a symbolic or mythological representation, not an actual historical event or evidence of ancient extraterrestrial contact. The fiery wheel is thought to be associated with divine power or transportation, like the biblical vision of the prophet Ezekiel. While many interpret this as symbolic or mythological, some speculate it could be an early depiction of extraterrestrial contact. Nonetheless, it's an early example of humans illustrating strange phenomena in the sky. The Ancient Indian Text. Ancient Indian texts such as the Mahabharata and the Vimana Shastra tell tales of Vimanas, vehicles capable of soaring through the skies and even journeying to other planets. The ancient Indian texts, including the Mahabharata and the Vimana Shastra, they describe aerial battles and advanced weaponry, even giving detailed descriptions of these vehicles' designs and mechanisms. The Vimanas are described in several ancient Indian texts, including the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Vimana Shastra. They're often portrayed as majestic, flying palaces or chariots, capable of incredible feats. The texts depict them as having the ability to move in any direction, hover, and even travel into space or underwater. Alright, that's already strike one for being consistent with how UFOs have been reported and shown to move and release UFO footage and testimonies by eyewitnesses as well as military personnel. The Vimana Shastra offers elaborate details on Vimanas' construction and the operation. The text describes different types of Vimanas, some using mechanical propulsion systems, others operating through mystical or even psychic means. Propulsion mechanisms range from a combination of mercury vortex engines, where the mercury is heated, causing it to rotate, which creates a lifting force, to more esoteric forms of energy. However, attempts to replicate these mechanisms based on the description in the text have not been successful. Advanced weaponry. Ancient Indian texts also mention advanced weaponry, some of which sound strikingly like modern descriptions of beam or energy weapons. The Brahmastra, for example, described in the Mahabharata and other texts, is depicted as a single projectile weapon capable of destroying entire cities or even the world. It's often compared to a nuclear weapon due to the devastation it allegedly caused. Similarly, the text mentions the Narayanastra, a weapon that fires a rain of arrows on his enemies, and the Vaishnavastra, a powerful missile attributed to Lord Vishnu. Another notable weapon mentioned in the Agnyastra, which could emit a blazing fire capable of causing severe destruction, reminiscent of some incendiary device or flamethrower. The texts often depict these weapons as being used in grand celestial battles, causing vast devastation and upheaval. While these texts provide intricate details of Vimanas and advanced weaponry, it's important to note that these are mostly understood to be mythological or allegorical historical by mainstream historians and scholars. The interpretations that consider these as evidence of advanced ancient technology or extraterrestrial encounters remain speculative and outside of mainstream academic consensus. Livy's writings. Over in ancient Rome, historian Livy reported phantom ships gleaming in the sky. These accounts from around 218 BC during the Second Punic War provide early records of unexplained aerial phenomena. The idea of ships could be interpreted based on observers' understanding of technology at the time, making this a fascinating glimpse into ancient interpretations of unidentified aerial phenomena. The Middle Ages were not without their share of mysteries. The 776 AD Annales Latecensis, a record of the Carolingian Empire, describes a flaming shield seen in the sky during a siege. This serves as a potent reminder that strange aerial sightings have been a part of human experience for centuries. Fast forwarding to the early modern period, we have an account from American colonialist John Winthrop in 1639. His diary records a secondhand observation of a large, strange light in the night sky. And when this light stood still, the witness apparently had time to get others to come in to see it too. This historical account is one of the earliest UFO reports in the English colonies. In the late 1800s, before humans had even mastered the art of flight, a wave of sightings swept across the United States. people reported seeing strange, unidentified airships. One notable incident occurred in 1897 in Aurora, Texas, where locals claimed a mysterious airship crashed, and the alien pilot was even buried in the local cemetery. These sightings, often attributed to mass hysteria or fabrication, nonetheless form an intriguing part of UFO history. The 20th century, an era ripe with technological advancements and world conflicts, was also rich with notable UFO incidents. During the dark days of World War II, pilots on both sides reported mysterious phenomena, Foo Fighters. These were unexplained lights or spherical objects that trailed or flanked their aircraft during missions, often displaying erratic behavior and high-speed maneuvers that baffled witnesses. Post-war, in 1947, an American pilot named Kenneth Arnold reported seeing 9 brightly lit, saucer-like objects flying at incredible speeds near Mount Rainier, Washington. His description of their flight as like a saucer if you skip it across water led to the popular term flying saucers. This event is often considered the start of the modern UFO era. Later that same year, the Roswell incident unfurled. In the summer of 1947, something crashed on a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico. Initially, the US military stated they'd recover a flying disc, but they quickly recanted the story, insisting it was a crashed weather balloon. This swift change in narrative fueled widespread speculation and conspiracy theories that continue to this present day. And as we all know, with the recent releases of the US government, that this was probably a real ship and they lied about that. The intrigue escalated in 1952 when a series of sightings occurred in Washington, D.C. Radar operators and witnesses reported unidentified objects moving at high speeds over the Capitol. These sightings were so alarming that they triggered a swift response from the US Air Force, who attributed the phenomenon to temperature inversions causing radar blips. In 1973, a unique case grabbed headlines with Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker from Pascagoula, Mississippi, claimed to be abducted by aliens while fishing. The two men described strange creatures with claw-like hands who temporarily paralyzed them and floated them into a UFO. They reported their experience to the local sheriff, passed a lie detector test, and this story attracted global attention. Then, in 1980, a major UFO event occurred in Rendlesham Forest, near 2 Royal Air Force bases in the United Kingdom. Over a series of nights, multiple US Air Force personnel reported seeing strange lights and objects in the forest. They described interactions with triangular-shaped craft, and one of the officers even claimed to touch hieroglyphic-like markings on it. Known as Britain's Roswell, this remains one of the most famous UFO incidents in the United Kingdom. The 21st century has seen a continuation of these unexplained aerial phenomena. In November 2004, off the coast of California, United States Navy pilots from the USS Nimitz encountered a mysterious tic-tac-shaped object. It exhibited extraordinary acceleration and maneuverability, outpacing the advanced FA-18 fighter jets. This incident gained substantial credibility when the Department of Defense declassified the gun camera footage in 2020. Fast forward to 2006, a group of employees and pilots at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago reported a metallic, saucer-shaped object hovering over the airport. The object was stationary in the sky for several minutes before shooting upwards at a high speed. Despite photographic evidence and multiple witnesses, the FAA did not investigate, attributing the sighting to weather phenomena. Most recently, in 2020, the U.S. Pentagon acknowledged the existence of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. They released 3 videos of encounters between U.S. Navy pilots and unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, effectively legitimizing the study of these incidents within the military and scientific community. And even recently, on June 7th, 2023, there was body cam footage from police officers responding to a call that a UFO crashed in their backyard, and there was body cam footage seeing something fall out of the sky. So even up until today, it's still going on. These instances, separated by time and geography, weave a fascinating narrative of humanity's ongoing encounters with the unexplained. Remember, we don't have definitive answers for these events, but it's intriguing to ponder these mysteries and speculate about what they could mean. That's all we have time for today, but I will be diving into more of these events in future episodes. Remember, keep looking up and keep asking questions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, be safe.
Way the ball boxing hot.
The whole project will collapse.